Never let them guess your next move, I think is probably the theme that Blake Lively is using in with her counsel and all of her dragons, because what? Happy Monday. I hope you're having the best day. Thank you so much and welcome back to this channel. Yesterday there was a surprise little letter from Isabella Ferrer, which we are going to dive right into. What is going on? There is a lot to go into and it is going to get spicy because I feel fired up. If you're ready, I'm ready. Grab that emotional support lip gloss. We are going to need it. You are in frame with Mandy Magnan. Before we get into these two, which I have some thoughts on, of course, I have many thoughts. I want to talk about this guy, Jared Foley at Michelin and Robinson LLP. He was the one in charge of writing this horrendous, ridiculous letter, which we will get into. It's riddled with spelling errors. It doesn't make any sense. The arguments are completely ridiculous. I mean, wow, wow, wow. But you know what, Jared? I know something about you. Last year in May of 2024, you, Jared, were an attorney trying to sue Brian Freeman for defamation. Yeah, see, this isn't the first time someone's tried to sue Brian Freeman for defamation for publicly speaking about them. No, and you lost. You lost. The case was dismissed, and actually, Brian Freeman, he was awarded $75,000 in attorney fees. The ruling was based on California's anti-SLAPP law, which protects public statements made in the course of a legal dispute. Yeah, the judge found that Freeman's remarks about Cassan being a pathological liar constituted protected opinion rather than defamatory fact. You lost. Are you holding a little bit of a grudge? Is that why Blake and Ryan found you? Because, you know, you're a little bit bitter from that loss against Brian Freeman. But there's more to it, isn't there? Because we all know that Blake and Ryan like to play these little games, especially now that we know that also with Jed Wallace, they tracked down and hired one of Jed's lawyers that worked on his case against Blake Lively when she first filed her lawsuit and then withdrew it. But there's something else, isn't there? Because there's just too many connections here. But before we get into the Cassan connection with Ryan Reynolds, let's just talk a little bit about your LinkedIn profile, because as I've highlighted, it said skilled in legal writing. Well, as we're about to see when we look at the filing, I think you need to change your LinkedIn bio, because that ain't it. No, and especially since there's like spell correct and a bunch of stuff that could help you, you know, with spelling errors. You should be embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for you. Mono to mono, you feel me? I mean, the mistakes you had. You okay? But you see, back in May of 2024, when this lawyer took on a client, Michael Cassan, to go up against Brian Freeman, I started looking into Michael Cassan and seeing if he had any connections with our pal Ryan Reynolds. And it turns out that Ryan Reynolds was actually on his podcast before.
You know, so it's, for us, it's a little bit about, you know, going with our guts and telling stories and, you know, acknowledging and playing with aspects of the zeitgeist that really make us laugh. And it's not always just comedy. Sometimes it's something that's emotional, you know? I mean, our sort of core beliefs. I think I speak for most people, you know, really most people, you know, think themselves, you know, into oblivion. You know I do. I wish I could stop my brain sometimes, you know, as I tend to overthink everything, you know. So
I want you to be self-aware and tell me a little bit about Ryan Reynolds as a client. What kind of client are you? Are you a guy everyone likes to work with, or are you a pain in the ass? You know, how are you as a client?
Ryan Reynolds, he's impetuous and wildly insecure. Bit of a monster.
So hold up. time out. Let me just try to piece this together. Michael Cassan and Ryan Reynolds are active on red carpets, marketing, tied in kind of together all through like marketing agencies. They were at cons, you know, kind of similar on red carpets together, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. In 2001, Ryan Reynolds goes on his podcast where he says, we find divisiveness to be really effing boring, as well as some other things. You can go give it a listen. Brian Freeman calls Michael Cassan a pathological liar in the course of a trial. Michael Cassan then sues Brian Freeman because he says that his words in the public and in publications and to journalists is defamation. That lawyer that he uses is Jared Foley. Jared Foley loses against Brian Freeman, making Michael Cassan lose against Brian Freeman. And now Isabella Ferrer is using the same lawyer that lost with Michael Cassan against Brian Freeman. I knew Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively didn't like Brian Freeman for a reason. And they're trying to pull the same thing. Oh, it's defamation. Oh, he's bullying me. Oh, he's furthering the smear campaign by talking to journalists. Don't you think Brian Freeman has been here before? And it looks like he's been here before with your own circle of people. So now I know for sure, in my own opinion, of course, that this lawyer obviously came from Blatesky. Makes sense, because what, out of all the lawyers you can get, you pick the one that went up against Brian Freeman and lost only a year ago? Please. Y'all are some ancestral circle, keep it in the family kind of people, okay? Because we will find out. We will find out everything. And now, before we just go into the court filing, let me talk about these two. Mean old girls. Might as well just put up the man beater, Jenny Slate, up there too, because you three, my gosh. First of all, Isabella Ferrer, before all of this PR stuff that you did with Blake Lively, you said that you only met her twice and y'all became best friends. Twice? Okay? Twice? And she had you over now at sleepovers. Oh, yeah. There's some pictures of that. What? It's weird. It's creepy. You are a young 20-year-old. She's 40 with 4 kids. This is strange behavior, okay? And it even says, feeling grateful for all my loved ones today. Happy birthday to this angel. Your integrity, strength, grace, talent, kindness, resilience, and bravery is a gift to all who know you. We love you. Who's we? You and your husband? It's weird. It's giving grooming vibes. It's giving predatory vibes. You feel me? But then we fast forward. Not only did you text Justin with the utmost admiration, you've done interviews about the intimacy. You've done interviews where you said it was an amazing set. And this was your first big film. And you turned your back not only on the director, the filmmaker, the production, the people paying for the movie, the people that cast you in the film. You turned your back on all of them to follow the shiny little dangly diamond Barbie girl and her husband Ryan Reynolds. And what has that gotten you? Because while everyone else is working, I don't see nothing coming up for you, baby girl, on your IMDb. Who is going to hire you again knowing that you could easily be just so persuaded into going on to the next best thing? It is so gross behavior. There are interviews with you. There was on-set interviews that you did for B-roll. There was podcasts that you did before Blake got her claws in you. And what this is giving, if I'm being honest, is guilty. Because let me tell you something, as someone who had to fight for their rights, okay, and I'm sure a lot of people here can agree, when it comes to them being like, okay, we're going to have to get your text messages from your friends, they're ready. Show them. Call them right now. All of my friends would stand 10 toes down for me in a heartbeat, and they have. written me letters, giving me documents, written statements, available for a call anytime. That's what your friends do when they know that you are on the right side of things, fighting for your rights. They are ready to fight with you. Okay, so now we have, as soon as Taylor Swift came in, oh my God, it's bullying, it's harassment, it's this. You can't have the text from Taylor Swift. Okay. And now, Isabella, no, you can't have those texts. Oh, medical records? No, you can't have medical records. Everything is just guilty. Guilty. And Isabella, this is for you, baby girl. I don't know if you know this, but Blake is playing you like a little pawn. Okay? Because either one, she's doing this to try to change the Google, change this whole Taylor Swift's coming out with a new album, ruin the friendship, she might be on it, da. So she's using you now as a scapegoat. But this is ridiculous. What you've done is wipe your hands of your career, because what? You've just turned on the entire studio that made you famous in the first place. You just turned on the director after literally being on his side, sending him texts, doing all of this stuff before Blake got to you and groomed you. So the fact that you are fighting so hard to not want to show your text messages, one, guilty, okay? Because what's in those messages? If Blake went through, this is what I'm saying, y'all, even you, Isabella, if you were so uncomfortable on that set, if you guys were all talking about it in a little text and stuff, wouldn't you want to show that? Wouldn't you want to show your text messages to prove your friend isn't telling the truth, your little new bestie, your new BFF? Wouldn't you want to show them? To say like, hey, here are the texts. This is what we talked about. It was very uncomfortable. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't have anyone to go to, so I went to Blake. Okay, prove it. Prove it. Why are you hiding? It's crazy. And it's giving guilty. And it's gross because we've been following it. We saw you change during the PR. We saw you. And now you want to come out and call him a harasser? And not only that, but it's Wayfair entities coming after you, and you use Justin Baldoni only every single time. And that was on purpose, and that was planted. And that is absolutely disgusting. You girls never deserved Justin Baldoni or any of the Wayfair people. Again, if you were on the right side of things, you would want to stand up for your friend. You would want to show the text messages. I had the same problem with Taylor Swift. Okay, how they were fighting so hard to not get the communications and da-da-da-da. And I'm thinking, not my best friends. My best friends would they would go to war with me. Do you understand that? With God behind us and the truth on our side. They would be right beside me, willing, ready, and able to show everything, which is what Blake Lively said that you were going to do. That her witnesses, the women in her CRD complaint, they are ready, willing, and able to come forward. But now that it's time, oh, no, you don't want to. And of course you were going to get subpoenaed by Wayfair. Hello, people, ding, 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 ding. Anyone that worked on that movie or did any PR for that movie or went to even the release where Baldoni and Wayfair were sitting in a basement is going to get subpoenaed. All of the dragons, including Hugh Jackman, including Bradley Cooper, including probably Taylor Swift still. But you, oh God, it's harassment when they try to subpoena you. It's harassment. But Blake Lively trying to subpoena and has successfully over 107 content creators for not having the same opinion, plus all the other people. I mean, we can go through the court dockets on how many motions she has filed to try to serve subpoenas through alternate means. That's okay. That's not harassing your little girlfriend doing that. But for you, oh my gosh. This is crazy. It's abuse. It's harassment. It's court. Okay? Justin Baldoni and the Wayfair parties are fighting for their lives right now, and you're want to try to say that it's for PR. Well, this whole, hey, everything's for PR, it's for PR, it's for PR. Shut up. Okay? It's called court. It's called fighting. Okay? Of course you were going to get subpoenaed. And the fact that you so openly admit to complying to Blake Lively's subpoena in February, but now you don't want to comply to this subpoena? That girl, that tells me everything I need to know. Goodbye. Hasta la vista. See you later. Okay? Again, innocent people don't have anything to hide. Okay? That's why right now, why have we all seen all of Justin's communications? Probably not all of them, but really right now it's like all one-sided. We've seen all of the email chains, all of the text chains. It's your turn, Blake. Where are your texts? Where's your text with Isabella? Where's your text with Leslie Sloan? Where's your text with all your dragons? Where are your texts? I would love to see them, because so far, even in your own CRD complaint, the only mention of texts that you have are to other women co-stars where you yourself are insulting and belittling to Justin Baldoni, calling him and Jamie creeps and clowns while you were working on their set and they were paying you millions of dollars. You disgust me as a human. Absolutely awful. And Isabella, before you get all crazy or even worse, I don't even know if it's possible, Justin Baldoni and the Wayfarer people didn't bring you into this mess. Blake Lively did. She did in November when she brought her 17-point list of demands, asking to have control over young Lily's scene and approve young Lily's scenes. She brought you into this. And then she brought you into this again in her CRD complaint where she referenced you numerous times. So you should have been ready for this. And instead now you want to come and start using all of these words, right? Harassing, extortion, trigger words aren't going to work here, sweetheart, okay? We're clocking it. We see you. Y'all are in this together. At first, nobody knew. On the fence, not on the fence. What's going on? Where is she? Oh my God, we feel so bad for her. She got wrapped into this and then. Not anymore. True colors. And just for reference and a little reminder, you were cast to play young Lily in a movie based off a book called It Ends With Us. You weren't cast to play young Blake. But it seems like y'all are just the same person after all, just like you said in those interviews. Let's get to the court filings. We just have the declaration here, and I just wanted to highlight how obviously Wayfarer is spelled Wayfarer, which is easily found pretty much anywhere and all over the court dockets that this lawyer is supposed to be, on. So let's just number one there, okay? Now, first we're just going to talk about this. So this is just the declaration from the lawyer, okay? This is just a point to point to point, A to B to C, exactly what happened. So obviously he knows how to spell Wayfarer because it's right there, Wayfarer, right? So how freaking insulting that every time he spells Wayfarer in the actual document, he spells it wrong. But, potato, I guess. Whatever. But I just think, I always call out things like that because I noticed there was other spelling mistakes in other people's things. So but to spell, you can't even spell their name right. Just tells me everything I need to know. Indemnification, and there are a lot of lawyers that are doing a good job of explaining it, especially not actually Golden, who I am in love with and obsessed with, and she keeps me level-headed and my feet on the ground. You feel me? Because sometimes I just want to freak out. However, indemnification we're also seeing with Stephanie motherfucking Jones, right? So Jennifer Abel is trying to use indemnification on Stephanie Jones, being like, yo, not only were you my boss, I worked for you, and you were on the list as well. You were working on the account as well with me. So if I have to pay for anything related to this Blake Lively, so do you, girl, right? So the same thing happens when you're on set or when you work pretty much with any employer, there's usually some clauses in your contract that say, hey, while you're under this entity, if anything happens to you while it has to do with the movie or your performance or you get sued or anything like that, we will cover the lawyer's cost. Well, Miss Ferrer is trying to turn that thing on its head. First of all, the way it works is then the company itself, or however you usually is, they would handle then which lawyers you would have to go for their law firm. They would kind of control it because they're paying for it. That you wouldn't just be like, oh, well, I have this contract, so I have indemnification, so I'm going to go get the most expensive lawyer who costs $150,000 an hour and you have to pay for it, because that's not the way it works. And that's not the way it's ever worked. So the way she's trying to use this already is absolutely nuts. But what she's saying is on February 25th, Blake Lively issued a subpoena for the production of documents to Isabella. A true and correct copy of the Lively subpoena is attached. Thank you. Then Isabella, she has this written contract with It Ends With Us, and it does say indemnifies and shall keep the artist fully and effectually indemnified from and against and indemnifies and keeps the artist fully and effectually indemnified from and against any and all claims, demands, actions, proceedings, costs, damages, liabilities, losses, and expenses, including reasonable outside legal costs suffered or incurred by the artist arising out of any material occurred, breached, non-performance, or non-observance by It Ends With Us. That's fine. So then I guess they've been going back and forth to see, like, is Wayfair going to pay for it, not pay for it? Are they going to pay for the attorney fees? And the way he's just wording it, and we're going to look at every single exhibit here because I think somebody's being a liar, pants on fire. But he's saying on April 25th, Miss Ahuranian who is a lawyer for Wayfair, and she actually attended the premiere as well. So she's on Justin's side. I mean, they are good friends, and I think she's a very great lawyer, and she's smart and beautiful, so whatever. But they're saying that she attempted to defend the It Ends With Us position, that it can control Miss Ferrer's response to the Lively subpoena or dictate her counsel with citation to a case that does not exist. Now, he's claiming that she quoted and cited a case that does not exist and it's AI hallucinated. That is a big, bold statement, as well as, are you talking to Blake Lively's lawyers? Because so far the only person that's done that, and sorry to say, I mean, he has said it himself, was Perez Hilton. ChatGPT made up a case for him or whatever. But to actually say that this lawyer did that is very strange. He's saying that he asked her on several occasions, some verbal, yeah, I bet, and in written correspondence to provide him a copy of the cited case. She never did. And then they're saying that they tried to negotiate, and this lawyer dragged him through all the way through April and May. During that time, they had to get a mediation. So they went to this Jam's place to try to solve it, and they were going to submit all of their receipts and stuff to see who would have to pay, who wouldn't have to pay. And then now, instead of that, they've just been demanding that he accept service of the subpoena. Yeah, you are her lawyer, so you do need to accept service on her behalf. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. But we're going to go through all of this anyway. And then he's saying that, oh yeah, he attached all of the exhibits from the news article she's been in, and she's been getting DMs, and people are talking about her on social media. First of all, I don't agree with, you guys already know, I don't care if you're DMing Blake, Ryan, anybody. I don't like online bullying, and I don't like DMing people. It's strange. It's weird. It doesn't look good. It unplug for a little bit if you have to do that. I personally think that it's a little delulu and a little strange, but to each their own. And I look through the DMs and they're not even that bad. I think us normal content creators have gotten way worse than that, but who am I, to each their own. However, let's just get into the actual letter here, because oh girl, what are you thinking? You couldn't have read this and thought that this was a good idea. Right off the bat, BS, shut the front door, Isabella. That's what I want to say to you. You. Right off the bat, this is the intro. Here we go. The instant motion for leave to serve third-party Isabella Ferrer by alternate service is yet another attempt by Justin Baldoni and his affiliate entities, collectively Baldoni. No, it is the Wayfair entities, collectively the Wayfair parties. So you would want to say Justin Baldoni, Jamie Heath, Steve Soritz, and the Wayfair parties. This is on purpose. This is a dig. This, I think, is harassment. I think this is bullying. I think this is using the court dockets to further mock, bully, and try to jab one in because y'all haven't done enough. Even just this first opening sentence, I just want to grab you across the screen and just shake sense into you, because what are you doing? As a lawyer, you don't even know who the parties are. You write collectively the Baldoni. Shut up. Let's restart. The instant motion for leave to serve third-party Isabella Ferrer by alternate service is yet another attempt by Justin Baldoni and his affiliate entities, collectively Baldoni, to harass non-party Isabella Ferrer and draw her deeper into litigation and disputes that she has done her best to avoid. Well, you can't avoid it. You were there. You were besties. You were seen having dinner with her in New York in October. The same week she was seen. Taylor Swift was seen with the guy from the New York Times. The same week that there's metadata showing that the New York Times were working on this article. Guys, you can't avoid it. You were on the movie. You played young Lily. Blake Lively talked about you several times in her CRD complaint. She brought you into this. My gosh. Guys, I'm fired up. I'm so sorry. This is Miss Ferrer's first filing in this court, but she was pulled into the discovery fray in February of 2025 when Blake Lively delivered a subpoena to her. The Lively subpoena to delve into allegations about Miss Ferrer that Baldoni included in his original complaint. What? So she gave you a subpoena just to ask you about the text messages. I'm sure y'all didn't talk about those text messages once. I'm sure you never talked about it before. Please. My gosh. You know what? There is a conspiracy going on. Blake was right about that when she said civil conspiracy. There is a conspiracy going on. And it's against the Wayfair people. There is a conspiracy, and there was a conspiracy, and there always has been a conspiracy to take over this franchise 100%. And now I know Isabella was part of that. Because you know right from wrong. You know what you're doing. Period. You're an adult. Okay? In response, Ms. Ferrer tendered a demand for indemnity to It Ends With Us Movie, LLC, as mandated in her weekly player contract for theatrical motion pictures. From that point forward, Baldoni has tried to manipulate, threaten, control, and otherwise act inappropriately towards Ms. Ferrer. Shut up. How? Prove it. You're just going to throw every single trigger word that you could ever find, ever, and just put them in one sentence like that without nothing. Just like that. Yeah. Think about this. Justin Baldoni tried to manipulate, threaten, control, and act inappropriately. When in the history of Justin Baldoni have you ever seen him do this to anybody? Even all of the texts and emails we've seen with him and Blake Lively. You're just going to throw in trigger words and think that you're going to make people that stupid? You think we're all so stupid that we're like, oh my God, he is a monster. Isabella, you are not a victim. You were subpoenaed. You are not a victim in this case. Like, you're talking like this was the end of the world, that you got a subpoena by Justin Baldoni and Wayfair. OMG. In fact, Baldoni's legal team has gone as far as citing a phony case which Ms. Ferrer's counsel discovered as an AI hallucination to support a frivolous legal position. But it did not stop there. The filing of the instant motion is yet another attempt to manipulate the press, to create havoc on a young, up-and-coming and talented actress, and to violate this court's policy on the publishing of non-party personally identifying information. As set forth herein, there is no need for the court to grant the press garnering motion, but instead sanction Baldoni for engaging in such obvious sharp practice. Okay, just for funsies, yeah, I was keeping an eye today on if this was like, oh, all for PR, like she's saying. Oh my God, Isabella, it's all for PR. Nope, check this out. Everything today was still about Blake and Taylor Swift when you Google Blake. So it didn't work. You're not that important. You're not going to take away from Taylor Swift, okay? Period. And the excuse that now everything is for PR, it's exhausting. It's tiring. It's been done. It was done in January, okay? Like, get over it. They are fighting their case and for their lives. And what? Everything Blake and her people do is PR. This was supposed to be PR to cover up for Taylor Swift, 100%. The primary reason to deny the motion is that it fails to meet the applicable legal standard for the relief Baldoni seeks. Baldoni prematurely brought the motion without conducting the diligence necessary to support a motion for leave to serve a discovery subpoena on Ms. Ferrer by means other than personal service. The motion discloses no efforts made by Baldoni to determine Ms. Ferrer's actual residential or business address, nor does it offer scintille of evidence to demonstrate that Ms. Ferrer has ever in any way attempted to avoid personal service of Baldoni's July 3rd, 2025 document subpoena. To the contrary, by responding to the Lively subpoena, Ms. Ferrer has already proven that when faced with a valid subpoena in this matter, she will comply with her obligations. There is no proper foundation to support the motion, and Baldoni's true motivations will be revealed herein. Okay, so then just comply. And I'm sure that they tried the addresses that you put on file on your employment record. I mean, we'll see, but like, they didn't just go to some strange addresses. And they even said that you didn't live there. They asked, the processor asked around. And like, Blake Lively herself has been trying to subpoena so many people and then asking the courts to step in to be able to do it. So if you will comply, what's the problem, sweetheart? What's the problem? Unfortunately, the motion is just the latest in a broader pattern of conduct by Baldoni to bully Ms. Ferrer. Yes, yeah, he's bullying her. Okay. Earlier, Baldoni tried to leverage compliance with contractual indemnity obligations owed to Ms. Ferrer in an effort to take control of Ms. Ferrer's responses to the Lively subpoena. Baldoni then tried to leverage compliance with those same indemnity obligations as a quid pro quo for Ms. Ferrer to instruct her attorney to accept service of the Baldoni subpoena on her behalf. Stated another way, Baldoni refused to honor contractual obligations unless Ms. Ferrer agreed to certain demands. That's usually how it goes when they're paying for your lawyers. Yeah, they kind of get to like set the tone of how to fight subpoenas, which lawyers are going to do it. What are you, this lawyer? I can't believe he would file a letter like this. Like, Ryan and Blake must be in his pocket, because this is one of the weirdest things I've ever read in my life, because it doesn't make any sense and he should know better. But I guess they just wanted to like really attack Justin Baldoni further, again, attack him some more and do it within the courts. It's absolutely nuts. I think they're going to have a big clapback with this one, because she just blew away her whole career. I mean, this is absolutely nuts. This is what she will be remembered for a very long time. Ms. Ferrer rightfully refused to tie her indemnity rights to any other issue in Baldoni's dispute with Lively. While Ms. Ferrer will faithfully comply with her legal obligations under any subpoena, summons, or court order, she obviously will not be intimidated or extorted by any party to otherwise participate in the proceedings. Okay, then you're obligated to answer the subpoena. What is the problem? You don't want to hand over your text messages with Blake Lively. It is freaking weird, because y'all have a lot to hide. It's kind of crazy. Finally, though the motion does not directly raise the substance of the Baldoni subpoena, it's a Wayfarer subpoena. This guy is pissing me off. The court should consider it when determining whether to give Baldoni special treatment for the manner in which it is served. Special treatment? Do you see like how they're doing it? Like all of the trigger words and all of this stuff compared to, we have seen now Lively use the court docket over and over and over and over. I mean, how many times has she filed to serve parties in alternate means, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? This is the first time that they're asking for this, and it's like, whoa, my God, this is crazy. You're harassing me. I'm a victim. I'm a victim. Ladies, aren't you tired of playing victim? Like, isn't it exhausting when there's nothing actually attacking you? When you're not really, you know what I mean? Like, at some point, you're going to have to get over it, right? Like, even the most cursory review of the Baldoni subpoena demonstrates its harassing nature. For example, it demands the production of all documents produced in connection with any subpoena in the action. There is no rational reason to demand that Ms. Ferrer, who is not a party in this action, reproduce materials that have already been produced by her or others in this litigation. Well, if you already have them, hit send, baby. How hard is it? You already have them. For all these reasons, which are discussed at length, Ms. Ferrer respectfully asks that the court to deny the motion its entirely and impose appropriate sanctions against Baldoni. You do know that also you're going to have to take the stand. And you do know that you're probably also going to be deposed, right? Like, this is just the first step. So is all of that also going to be bullying and harassment? Because, like, Blake Lively said that you were a witness. She said that the women on the set, the other women, which were only you and the man beater, Jenny Slate, are willing, able, and ready to come forward, and you will come forward to give your testimony. And now that it's time to come forward and show your communications, you're filing this BS. Interesting. Are you ready to be gaslit into high heavens? Because, oh my gosh, this is just obnoxious, insulting, crude, and absolutely disrespectful on all fronts from Isabella Ferrer. And yes, I'm holding you responsible because how dare you? Isabella Ferrer is a talented actress. She got cast in It Ends With Us because she looks exactly like Blake Lively, the mole, right? Before that, and has no projects in the future and had no projects before. So, okay. Broke into feature films, but I'm not here to judge, you know, it takes a long time. I'm at it still, you know. She worked on this big, huge movie. Haven't done that yet. Do you know what I'm saying? So, congratulations. Broke into feature films. One of her first film roles was It Ends With Us. Although her role in the film was important, she only spent 4 days on set and was paid a small sum for her work. She was paid $86,000 for 4 days. She has little to do with the operative facts and events of this case, but that has not stopped her from being pulled into the dispute by Baldoni in a number of ways. By Blake Lively in a number of ways. By Blake Lively. Bitch, you better quote all the times Blake Lively brought you up in her CRD complaint. If you're going to say that Baldoni brought you up in his, you better. By the time I'm done reading this, you better have said how many times Blake Lively brought you up. I swear. Okay? Baldoni made minimal reference to Ms. Ferrer in the original complaint Baldoni filed against Lively. The 179-page complaint Baldoni filed against Lively makes 4 direct references to Ms. Ferrer and includes screenshots of a few text messages Ms. Ferrer sent. Not surprisingly, some of the text messages Isabella sent Baldoni were very positive and included the types of comments one would expect from a young actress to make to the director and producer of her first feature film. No, that's such crap. No, if you don't have a good time on set, you do not write all the things that she wrote. Okay, and not only that, but let's talk about the interviews that she was doing on set and the interviews after set. No. You don't write that. You know you write, thank you so much. I had a good time. I hope we work together again. Oh my God, I'll see you at the PR tour. Oh, thank you so much. I had a great time. Thank you for casting me. I really thank you for the opportunity. Get out of here with that BS. That is such baloney. Oh my gosh. Baldoni used these texts to craft the narrative that after Ms. Ferrer spent substantial time with Lively during film promotions, Ms. Ferrer felt compelled to shun Baldoni in repudiation of her warm words. Yes, Baldoni's complaint made no other allegation that directly referenced Ms. Ferrer. Baldoni's lawyer-crafted narrative is far from reality or the true facts, but nonetheless, it created a situation where even those minimal allegations were enough to drag Ms. Ferrer into this litigation. Blake Lively filed her CRD complaint first and put you in it. Justin Baldoni was responding. You women are freaking nuts. Nuts, 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 nuts. And I bet Ryan Reynolds is the puppeteer of it all. Okay? This is crazy. In my opinion, alleged, please. Please, for entertainment purposes only or whatever. Like, I know y'all are watching. I know maybe you don't watch YouTube, but I know y'all are watching TikTok and Twitter, okay? And so, like, oh my gosh. Nuts. Nuts and nuts. Nuts, 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 nuts. Stated more bluntly, which we didn't need you to do because now you're mansplaining. You already explained it. We get the point. But anyway, stated more bluntly, Baldoni appropriated Miss Ferrer's narrative without her permission simply to create a self-serving image for the public and the press. Ironically, the allegations against Baldoni are those that mimic a harasser, and his recent actions surely support that view. Ms. Ferrer became involved in the litigation by way of the Lively subpoena. On February 25th, 2025, Lively issued the Lively subpoena to Ms. Ferrer. Ms. Ferrer tendered this matter to It Ends With Us LLC for indemnity. As explained below, It Ends With Us LLC has not honored its obligations. Consequently, Ms. Ferrer sought reasonable extensions of time from Lively to respond to the Lively subpoena until the indemnity issue was resolved. Baldoni demanded that Ms. Ferrer relinquish control of her response to the Lively subpoena to Wayfair. Yes. Shortly after Ms. Ferrer received the Lively subpoena, she sent notice to It Ends. Come on, man. You didn't even write It Ends With Us. It Ends LLC. Are you being serious right now? This guy. And then he has the nerve to say that he's really good at writing letters. Okay. Pursuant to her acting agreement to demand that It Ends. I can't. Get it together. Did you take a gummy when you were writing this? Did you just forget words? Did this take you 5 minutes? You just wrote it up? What's going on here, bruh? Like, I'm really being for real. This is crazy. I can't believe you even had the audacity to enter this. It doesn't even make sense. Anyway, the acting agreement includes an express provision requiring It Ends With Us LLC. Like, oh my God. Anyway, he's pretty much just saying that the contract should make them pay. I can't read it because there's too many spelling mistakes. Like, he doesn't even write It Ends With Us. Like, I mean, who could read this and actually think that this was proper? This is a horrible written thing. In a response letter from counsel for It Ends LLC and Wayfair Studios dated, oh my God, I can't. Give me a break. Give me a minute. He doesn't spell Wayfair right. He doesn't spell It Ends With Us. This is such a botched job. You should be embarrassed. You guys should be embarrassed as, like, collectively the Lively parties, because this is awful. Isabella, you should get your money back, whatever you paid this dude, because wowzers. Ms. Ferrer, as required by the acting agreement, the condition, however, was a serious one. The February 28th letter demanded that Ms. Ferrer confirm that she will surrender control of her response to Wayfair, meaning the Baldoni team sought to respond to Ms. Ferrer however they wanted, not actually allowing Ms. Ferrer to provide the documents that revealed the true facts. Then here it does say in the footnotes, the full statement from Baldoni's counsel, Teresa Trupin, reads as follows. Please confirm that your letter constitute notice of a pending claim or claim, specifically Ms. Ferrer's response to the subpoena mentioned in your letter, and the costs and expenses, including reasonable attorney fees that Ms. Ferrer is incurring and will incur in connection therewith, and that by your letter. Yes, that makes sense because they are going to fight the subpoena. They're paying the lawyers. Of course, if you want them to pay for you, they're going to be in charge. Like, That's exactly what Stephanie Jones should have done when she got the subpoena from Van Zandt. That sham subpoena, that started all of this with Blake Lively. She could have got lawyers and fought the subpoena. Okay, I just don't understand. And if there is documents, Miss Isabella, that reveal the true facts, show them. Like, you're not making any sense. You're not making any sense. Ms. Ferrer was not willing to turn over control of her response to the Lively subpoena to Baldoni, or anyone else for that matter, which led to a protracted dispute over It Ends With Us LLC's indemnity obligations. Aspects of that dispute help explain Ms. Ferrer's frustrations with her dealings with Baldoni and his counsel, as well as the distrust those dealings have fostered. Distrust those feelings have fostered. First, It Ends With Us fought over its claimed right to control Ms. Ferrer's response to the Lively subpoena, or at minimum, unilaterally select her counsel. This is crazy. Attorney relied or non-existent case citations to support the arguments that Baldoni was legally entitled to control or select counsel for Ms. Ferrer for purposes of her response. Ms. Ferrer's counsel, on numerous occasions, at least 7 times, requested copies of the reference authority, which appeared to be AI hallucinated citations and was called out for being fake. But It Ends, bro, that was called out for being fake because you can't even write It Ends With Us. It's weird. It's giving I don't care. It's giving whatever. It's just a bullshit scam job letter, okay? This is must be fake. This is crazy. You can't even get the name of the movie right. You can't even spell Wayfarer right. I'm sorry, guys. I know I've said it 20 times, but I'm trying to read it here, and it's like, how? You don't even know you don't even know what the movie's called. What are you fighting for? It Ends With Us LLC. Use of a fake case citation only underscored the impropriety of the position it was attempted to defend. Second, It Ends With Us LLC conduct in negotiating the terms of the indemnity greatly delayed the process and any related indemnification to Ms. Ferrer in a transparent attempt to put financial pressure on Ms. Ferrer as her legal costs mounted. Those delays continued even after the parties entered into a written contract in late May 2025. Why are you incurring attorney costs? You were subpoenaed. You go to the people who you have a contract with. You give them the subpoena, and then they deal with it. If you have nothing to hide, that's the process that you should have went through. But you do have shit to hide. That's why you're incurring attorney costs, and that's why we're here today, because you don't want to turn it over, because you are probably a mean, two-faced, lying Snake Lively. You guys are probably together on this, honestly. All of those sleepovers, figuring out how you were both going to be in the next movie. It Starts With Us and blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry. I even did videos of you, Isabella, where I was saying I feel bad for you. You broke my heart, okay? Those delays continued even after the parties entered into a written contract in May of 2025, which defined a process that would allow a neutral retired judge to review Ms. Ferrer's attorney invoices to determine whether the services and fees billed are subject to indemnification under the acting agreement. That's called a mediation. It's usually always retired judges. They come in and they kind of mediate and arbitrate the entire thing. In fact, it was during the time period when Ms. Ferrer was pushing It Ends With Us LLC to engage the agreed upon JAMS neutral that Baldoni reached out to Ms. Ferrer's attorney about accepting service of the Baldoni subpoena. Although the motion discusses the initial part of that outreach, it omits the salient facts that followed in violation of the well-settled obligation of candor to a tribunal. Baldoni made accepting service of the Baldoni subpoena to a quid pro quo to move forward with the process for handling contractual indemnification obligations owed to Ms. Ferrer. The fact that he keeps putting Baldoni makes me grossed out and eerie, because I don't know if it actually came from Justin Baldoni. Like, did Justin Baldoni contact him personally, or was it like the Wayfarer Council? Like, to me, this is very dangerous wording and not cool, in my opinion. Oh my gosh, just get ready. Here we go. Baldoni's attorney, Jason Sunshine, sent an email to Sanford, Michelin, Ms. Ferrer's counsel in the indemnity dispute late in the day on July 3rd and just before the long holiday weekend. That email asked Mr. Michelin to voluntarily accept service of the Baldoni subpoena on Ferrer's behalf. Makes sense. Not long after, Mitra, the other lawyer, who is representing It Ends LLC in its indemnity dispute with Ms. Ferrer, separately sent Mr. Michelin an email demanding that he confirm he will accept service on the Baldoni subpoena on Ms. Ferrer's behalf. They're trying to say that they tried to force her to either agree to the subpoenas or not be able to use indemnification. Stated another way, Ms. Ferrer had no idea that Baldoni was attempting to serve her with the subpoena, but only that he was trying to trade indemnity for acceptance of a subpoena. It Ends LLC. It ends with us. This letter should be stricken because it just doesn't, you can't even get it right. And would not send Ms. Ferrer an executed copy of the engagement contract needed to engage the JAMS neutral, the JAMS being the mediation place, neutral until Ms. Ferrer responded to Mitra's demands. They make it seem like they oh my God, we're going to get into the emails and it's what they're saying is completely oh God, they make it sound like they were really threatening and demanding this happen, when really they wrote, "Will you accept service of process on behalf of your client?" referring to the Baldoni subpoenas. Ms. Ferrer refused to bend to the quid pro quo service demand. Baldoni filed his motion on August 12th, 2025. Only after filing the motion did It Ends with Only after filing the motion did It Ends LLC finally return a countersigned copy of the JAMS engagement contract. The coordinated timing of these two events highlights the quid pro quo nature of Baldoni's earlier demand regarding acceptance of service and Baldoni's use of the media coverage garnered by filing the motion to pressure Ms. Ferrer. Baldoni's motion led to negative publicity for Ms. Ferrer. As with many filings in this case, the motion generated public interest. Ms. Ferrer has felt the effects of the public comments about the motion. Then they go into one article written by Us Weekly. Oh my gosh. Sadly, social media has been harsher and harassing, due in part to the fact that the motion publicly discloses what Baldoni claims to be 2 residential addresses for Ms. Ferrer. Implications that she has 2 residences are equally false. Using the residential address Baldoni identified in the motion, some social media posters questioned why Ms. Ferrer, as a young actress, was living in a residence valued at more than $1 million. And I think posters, I think he meant to say social media posts, or he could have said social media users or content creators or something. That even doesn't make sense. Oh my God. More dangerous are the direct messages, the DMs Ms. Ferrer has received from social media users, some of which have come with personal threats and hateful statements. Also, the people living at the addresses Baldoni publicly identified in the motion, who have nothing whatsoever to do with this litigation, are now subject to harassment because Baldoni openly and knowingly violated this court's practice of sealing or redacting non-party PII. Don't even get me started on redacting people's PII. And she doesn't even live there. So what? Can we go over all of the things that the other counsel has done? Should we or no? It would take up the entire rest of the video. And then not them going to arguments about subpoenas and lawful subpoenas when Blake Lively is subpoenaing people just for being social media content creators, okay? Don't even get me started. Though there are some circumstances where service by alternate means will be allowed, New York's district courts have not interpreted Rule 45 to broadly allow service of non-party subpoenas by alternate means. But this court and Judge Lyman did it. He did it. He did it for Blake Lively, okay? And he says that in here, even though you did it for Blake Lively on this one thing that was very rare and da-da-da-da-da. Shut up. The circumstances presented here to not meet the standard for allowing Baldoni to serve Ms. Ferrer by alternate means. Okay, an easy way to fix that, Miss Isabella, is to just tell him where he can serve you. This could have all just been an email. Hey, send it here. Hey, I will accept service. Hey, just send it to this email or send it to this address. Pretty easy peasy. The motion is baseless because Baldoni has not taken any action to actually locate Ms. Ferrer, and Baldoni does not have a shred of evidence to show that Ms. Ferrer is evading service. This letter is evading service. What are we talking about? The motion focuses on Baldoni's attempts to effect personal service of the Baldoni subpoena on Ms. Ferrer. 2 of those attempts were made at an address Baldoni's process server confirmed was not Ms. Ferrer's. During those 2 attempts, Baldoni's process server spoke with the apartment's occupants, who confirmed that they did not know Ms. Ferrer. The process server also spoke with a number of people in the building, as well as the superintendent, all of whom indicated that they did not know Ms. Ferrer. The other 4 attempts were made at an address where the process server found no indication that Ms. Ferrer resides, and which, according to a neighbor, is at times occupied by a middle-aged woman. Ms. Ferrer does not live at that address. Nothing in the record demonstrates that Ms. Ferrer was actually aware of any of the attempts made to serve her at those 2 locations, nor did Baldoni's counsel even raise that personal service was being attempted on Ms. Ferrer, which they clearly could have done via email. But you just said that they did email you asking if you're going to accept service. So which is it? Perhaps more important than the facts Baldoni's counsel provides in the motion supporting declaration is the information that is absent from the submission. Baldoni never attempts to explain why these are appropriate addresses where Ms. Ferrer could be served, which is a factor courts heavily weigh when analyzing whether a party has acted with the requisite diligence. Baldoni also fails to discuss the reasonable steps taken to try to locate a current residential or business address for Ms. Ferrer. Baldoni does not even claim to have reached out to Ms. Ferrer's talent agency, who is widely known to those in the industry. Worse yet, Baldoni fails to inform this court that Ms. Ferrer is already complying with another subpoena in this matter. Baldoni generally points to the fact that the court has allowed parties to use alternate means to serve subpoenas in this case as a reason for following alternate means here. However, the circumstances of the court's recent order allowing service by alternate means were far different. Okay, because then they're saying, like, when Blake Lively did it, they say that they tried to reach him at his address and da-da-da-da-da. The court then found that the numerous attempts to personally serve Mr. Sullivan at his actual residence at times when the occupants appeared to be home demonstrated the necessary diligence to allow the court to grant Lively's motion to proceed with an alternate methods of service. Baldoni has not taken similar actions here, as Baldoni never took the time or made the effort to locate Ms. Ferrer's actual residential or business address. Unless and until Baldoni can demonstrate an appropriate level of diligence, Baldoni's motion is premature and the request to serve Ms. Ferrer by alternate means should be denied. Of course, Baldoni has reasons to rush the filings of the motion, as the motion serves other important purposes, none of which are proper. This is a stupid argument. You're a lawyer? I'm so sorry. I have like literal secondhand embarrassment for you, because you're arguing the fact that he shouldn't be able to serve you by alternate means. Well, this is a pretty easy fix. Tell them where they can serve you. Like, am I missing something? This is like, what an argument. This is like a pointless argument, I feel like. Because even if they were to serve you, you're kind of saying that you don't want to comply because you're already doing it in another case. So I feel like that is just a stupid word salad, nothing burger. The purpose of this motion and the underlying subpoena is to harass Ms. Ferrer as part of a broader coordinated campaign against her. Oh my God. We have Blake Lively 2.0. Yes. Okay. Now there's a coordinated campaign against Isabella Ferrer. Yeah. So it's not just Blake Lively. It's also against Isabella Ferrer. Both the motion and the related Baldoni subpoena have underlying purposes that go well beyond pursuing legitimate discovery from a non-party. What's so crazy is, like, Justin Baldoni isn't out here filing these motions. He has a law team, right? He has all of these lawyers and counsel doing it. Justin Baldoni isn't the one serving the subpoenas. He's the client. Like, he has the counsel. So why aren't, anyway, the fact that he's not saying wait for parties and just keeps saying Justin Baldoni is crazy, and now that they think that there's a coordinated campaign against Isabella, is absolutely nuts. Like, nutso, insane. This is embarrassing. Instead, the motion and the Baldoni subpoena are transparent efforts to exert pressure on Ms. Ferrer both in this litigation and in connection with other pending disputes. OMG. The court has taken decisive action in the past in order to address Baldoni's misuse of the court process for improper purposes. For example, in May 2025, the court struck a letter that Baldoni publicly filed on the court's docket when it found that the purpose of the letter was to promote public scandal in advancing inflammatory accusations. More recently, on August 8th, the court struck Baldoni's filings when it found that they served no proper purpose and instead were filed to invite public speculation and scandal. Why is it just Baldoni? This is so cray-cray. This is literally an attack on Justin Baldoni from the Lively Council. No one can tell me otherwise. The court should take a similar approach to Baldoni's misconduct here when assessing whether to allow Baldoni to serve a subpoena to Ms. Ferrer using lesser alternative means. This can be solved by just telling them where they can serve it. Yet again, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse. Beating a dead horse. Is that a saying? Or did I just make that up? I think that's a saying, but the parties are obviously aware of the media's coverage of this litigation and in some cases have affirmatively sought that coverage out or tried to yield it for their own benefit. Ms. Ferrer understands that the court has routinely taken reasonable steps to protect non-party PII in this action and that Baldoni previously moved to seal other non-party PII. Had it been anything but an intentional disclosure, Baldoni would have already taken steps to remedy the mistake by moving for limited sealing of the offending portions of the moving papers or requesting authorization to submit a redacted version of the papers. Oh, you could have just submitted a letter yourself. This is crazy. Blaming Justin Baldoni for, he's not filing the letters, guys. It's so crazy. Although I do not agree with anybody's address or phone numbers or emails or nothing being submitted in the court, especially this court, because people are watching, The motion publicly discloses 2 residential addresses, which, had they actually been the current address of Ms. Ferrer's home, could have led to personal harassment or something worse. Thankfully, the addresses Baldoni publicly disclosed in the motion are not Ms. Ferrer's. Okay, good. Other social media posters I underlined it for a reason, guys, because it doesn't make sense. Other social media posts amplified the narrative that Baldoni has tried to advance about Ms. Ferrer from the outset of this lawsuit. He is fighting a case in the courts. He hasn't been on social media. He can't tell people what to do. He is in the courts. Wayfair are defending themselves in the courts and they don't advance any narrative. Do you know what this is so crazy that every time they try to make one step in their defense, it's oh my God, it's an attack. People accused Ms. Ferrer of dodging service and speculated that she was doing so at the discretion of Lively. 100%. I will stand on that. I will stand on that with my full chest. For Baldoni, the simple act of filing the motion made it a success, regardless of whether the court ultimately grants it. Baldoni's inappropriate conduct here, the use of the motion to disclose non-party PII to harass others, is not an outlier event when it comes to Ms. Ferrer. Baldoni previously tried to leverage indemnity obligations owed to Ms. Ferrer to control of Ms. Ferrer's response to other discovery directed to her in this litigation. The motion tries to make much of the fact that one of Ms. Ferrer's attorneys did not agree to accept service of the Baldoni subpoena. Ms. Ferrer's reluctance to authorize others to accept service on her behalf is well-founded and stems from Baldoni's past discovery-related conduct in this case. Ms. Ferrer has already had to resist Baldoni's inappropriate conduct in connection with her response to the Lively subpoena. No, you wanted them to pay for it. So they said, we will pay for it per our contract, but we're doing it with our own lawyers, as would any other company. They are a business. Guys, come on. This can't be real. In that case, Baldoni tried to leverage contractual obligations It Ends LLC has to Ms. Ferrer to compel Ms. Ferrer to surrender control of her response to Wayfair. Baldoni's demand that Ms. Ferrer cede control of her subpoena response was truly an egregious, improper demand. And though it does not rise to the same level of severity as attempts to control the substance of a non-party's discovery response, Baldoni also tried to leverage those same contractual. Are we really just trying to get our word count in here? Because make it make sense. And though it does not rise to the same level of severity as attempts to control the substance of a non-party's discovery response, Baldoni also tried to leverage those same contractual obligations as a quid pro quo. So I'm reading it right. There's just extra words or not enough. I don't know what's going on. For Ms. Ferrer's instructing one of her attorneys to accept service on the Baldoni subpoena on her behalf. Against his factual backdrop, allowing Baldoni to use lesser alternative means to serve Ms. Ferrer with the Baldoni subpoena effectively punishes Ms. Ferrer for refusing to bend to Baldoni's intimidation and may only serve to encourage more inappropriate behavior. Baldoni's subpoena largely covers material that Lively's subpoena covered, highlighting the harassing nature of Baldoni's discovery conduct. A review of the Baldoni subpoena demonstrates that Baldoni's aim is not to gather evidence for the use at trial. What else could it be? Are you guys okay? The category is, by its very nature, cumulative and duplicate of past document production made in this litigation. The Baldoni subpoena's other categories substantially overlap with the categories of the Lively subpoena. Those overlapping categories include Ms. Ferrer's communication with Lively, Baldoni, and other parties in this litigation, harassment or discrimination that took place during production of the film, complaints or grievances about various people connected to the film and in particular Justin Baldoni and Jamie Heath, and communications about the intimate scenes from the film. Baldoni made no effort to tailor the subpoena towards the production of new or different materials, demonstrating that the real aim of the Baldoni subpoena as well as the pending motion is to harass Ms. Ferrer. They just want things that have to do with the film and with Blake Lively. That's why we're here. And if you were uncomfortable, he wants to know, did you obviously didn't say nothing to him? Did you talk to other people about it? What is the problem here? Like, this is so crazy. Baldoni's conduct warrants sanctions pursuant to Rule 45. Don't even get me started on sanctions about subpoenas, because Blake Lively has been subpoenaing every single person she could possibly think of. On its face, Rule 45D allows the court to impose sanctions in connection with a party's action of serving a subpoena where the party's conduct results in undue burden or expense. Baldoni has committed sanctionable conduct here. The motion was filed for improper purposes and was designed to harass Ms. Ferrer, as discussed in sanctions. And then they go over all of the reasons why this subpoena is sanctionable. My God. Should the court conclude that an award of fees and costs is appropriate, Ms. Ferrer respectfully requests that the court set a briefing schedule for the calculations of the award. Conclusion. Baldoni has not met the threshold for seeking to serve Ms. Ferrer by means other than personal service, because Baldoni cannot show the requisite diligence to support such a request. Rather, Baldoni filed a motion for improper purposes with the aim of harassing Ms. Ferrer. Ms. Ferrer respectfully asked the court to deny Baldoni's motion and take appropriate action to protect the non-party PII that Baldoni so recklessly disclosed publicly through his filing. Ms. Ferrer also asked the court to consider appropriate sanctions against Baldoni for his bad faith tactics. Oh, boo-hoo. I'm sorry, but my empathy is out the window. Like, I'm really trying. I just don't understand, because again, what are you hiding? What's the problem? All you had to do was just tell them where they can serve you the subpoena, and then you can get your lawyers to fight what you want to give, what you don't want to give, why it's okay, why it's not okay. But this whole letter, just for you not to get served, is like wild. Now, after reading that and seeing how they were saying they were demanding, it was quid pro quo, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. In Exhibit 2, we see an email from Isabella Ferrer's lawyers to Wayfarer parties saying, hey, we just been subpoenaed. We want to know if you want to give us indemnification. Are you going to pay all of our costs? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. This is the email back, okay? It says, as you know, this firm represents Wayfarer Studios, LLC, and it ends with Us Movie, LLC, in connection with the ongoing litigation against Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, and other parties. I am in receipt of your letters regarding Isabella Ferrer's demand for indemnification pursuant to the above described agreement. Wayfair will, of course, honor its contractual obligations to Ms. Ferrer. Please confirm that your letter constitute notice of a pending claim or claim, specifically Ms. Ferrer's response to the subpoena mentioned in your letter, and the costs and expenses, including reasonably attorney fees and Ms. Ferrer's is incurring and will incur in connection therewith. And that, by your letter, Ms. Ferrer demands that the Wayfarer undertake the defense thereof and offers to surrender control thereof to Wayfair. Right, because that's how it works. You can't just bill them. Like, that's not what happens, and your lawyer should know that. We request that you provide the aforementioned confirmation no later than close of business day on Tuesday, March 4th. And this was sent February 28th, which gives them a lot of time to respond. Nothing contained herein shall be deemed a complete statement or waiver of any legal or factual basis, or any other right or remedy available to our clients in law and equity, all of which are hereby expressly reserved. Makes sense. Hey, we got your letter. You want us to pay for all of your stuff? You want to use indemnification? Absolutely. We'll do that for you. Come on over, sweetheart. Let our lawyers cover you. That's what any company would do. So then you have here on June 20th. Yes, on June 20th at 2:35, they wrote from the Wayfair people to Isabella Ferrer's lawyers. So the agreement says that Judge Carpinello has to approve the invoices, but they want to know what happens if he doesn't approve an invoice as is. We don't want a scenario where he is either approving or he's not. We ultimately want it resolved so the invoice is closed out. So if he makes a determination, for example, that X isn't reasonable or related, but Y is, that will be his determination. Not just say yes or no. I assume this is our understanding, given how a court arbitrator would determine fees, but they want clarity. Then he writes, isn't this already in the agreement? Then 4 days later, she writes, gentlemen, sorry for the delay. James was revising the engagement agreement at my request to reflect the fact that the Wayfair will be paying cost, and I just received it today. Please see attached. As far as the language of the agreement between the parties, we are aligned in our understanding of the agreement. Example, if an invoice is not approved by Judge Carpinello, Wayfair is not obligated to pay it. James felt the language was not sufficient in terms of instructing Judge Carpinello and giving him the authority to approve in part and reject in part according to his judgment. I think putting that in an email with instructions from both parties should suffice. Please confirm. Easy peasy. And then nothing. And then they write on July 14th. So this was on June 24th. July 14th, they write, following up on the attached and below. Also, my colleagues have emailed you twice to confirm that you will accept service on behalf of your client. I'd appreciate a confirmation by the end of the day. Where in here is it like pretty much holding her hostage? They're not like, they seem like they're pretty much helping her out, but of course if they're going to pay for it, they want to like, what? They really made it seem like the Wayfair parties or Justin Baldoni was, holding her hostage kind of, and like threatening her and harassing her and bullying her to like, comply with subpoenas. They seem very inviting, and nowhere did I see Justin Baldoni. That was all of his lawyers, okay? This is another exhibit from the emails. This is from Isabella Ferrer's lawyers. Now, this is on August 6th we're looking at. So from June 21st now to August 6th, we returned an executed copy of the JAMS engagement agreement to Ms. Aouen, which is Mitra. I butcher her last name. I'm so sorry. A couple of weeks ago, but we are not sure if she provided a copy of that to JAMS. Please see attached. Please let us know if there is any other information you need from Ms. Ferrer's side to move the engagement forward. We look forward to working with Judge Carpinello on this matter. Best regards. So this is coming from a partner at Michelin and Robinson, it looks like, which is this law firm for Isabella. And then we have from Mitra, Wayfair's lawyers, August 7th now. So they've been at this for months, guys. Months, okay? The original subpoena from Blake Lively was served in February. They've been trying to serve her a subpoena from It Ends With Us and Justin Baldoni since I think the beginning of May. We're now into August, okay? So she writes, we have a signed agreement. That is what we will agree to in terms of this engagement. This is the very last email on this topic. Your client's delay is just beyond acceptable at this stage. If we do not have our invoices submitted by agreement by Monday, we are absolutely done and will file the previously drafted lawsuit. We are exhausted with these antics. I will assume you disagree, so no need to rhetoric in response. Monday is a hard deadline. Thank you, John. Please confirm your understanding of the agreement between the parties with respect to Judge Carpinello's duties, as previously requested below. We are aligned in our understanding of the agreement. Example, if an invoice is not approved by the judge, Wayfair is not obligated to pay it. Jams felt the language was not sufficient in terms of instructing the judge and giving him the authority to approve in part and reject in part according to his judgment. I think putting that in an email with instructions from both parties should suffice. Please confirm. Also confirm if you will accept service of process on behalf of your client. So these emails look like they did everything they could for the mediation, and they're waiting for Isabella Ferrer's lawyers to do the same thing. This, like, they're digging themselves deeper and deeper and deeper into a hole. It seems like she was been cooperating the entire time, and they're waiting for them to send it in writing as well to the judge. Still don't hear anything. So that was on August 7th. Then again on August 7th, she wrote, will you accept service on behalf of your client? As mentioned, the clarification was requested by Jams. So the mediator, the people doing the mediation for this indemnification, they need clarification. I asked you to confirm your understanding of Judge Carpinello's authority in performing his duties. These are the exhibits that they've put here to try to prove their case. They're just as bad as Blake Lively with all of those emails and stuff that we went over on Friday, because this doesn't prove nothing. This proves that you guys were uncooperative in your own mediation. And then we have the DMs here, and y'all already know how I feel about that, about negatives and about sending people stuff, but they're really, not that bad. If these are the worst that she has, if these are the worst, now they're probably even going to be worse, because when you mess with the internet and when you're a public figure and when you're an up and coming famous talented actress, it's just part of the gig. When you put yourself out there, we all get DMs, okay? Bad stuff. They're going to find you, hun, sooner or later. You chose wrong. Blake the Snake is going to ruin your career before it even began. Hashtag justice for Justin, and you suck, bish. She called you hun. Tell Izzy to stop dodging her subpoena and tell the truth, or she's going to lose her audience with her silence. It's so obvious Ryan and Blake are paying for her lawyer and are the reason she's hiding. Her choosing silence is backing Blake, and she's blah, blah, blah. The writing on this one's so bad. But okay, here's another one. Hey, Judas, why are you running away? Face the consequences of your actions. Fair. Face the consequences. Blake and Ryan will take you down with them. Do the honorable thing. Tell the truth. That's a bad, harassing, awful message. Just literally asking you to take some accountability. It's time, Izzy. Oh, yeah, because Isabella, I'm like, why everyone calling her Izzy? That makes sense. The subpoenas are knocking. Your career is over. So at least do the right thing, girl. You might get your career back in 3 to 5 or 35 years back. With hiding, never. People will not forgive you. And the two absolute losers, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, are over anyway. I would not be scared. Do the right thing, Isabella. If that was your dad or family member being accused of doing something they never did, you'd want someone to do the honorable thing too. What's happening to Justin isn't fair, and it's ruining his family and career. Why are you avoiding being subpoenaed? You need to be on the right side of history and just effing go to court and say what happened. Isabella, please stand up and do the right thing. Speak the truth about Justin Baldoni. This situation is incredibly unfair to you. I agree, but please consider that if you don't stand up for the truth, this will haunt you for the rest of your life. I do not think that lying for Blake Lively is the person you are. That is a sweet I don't think that's harassing at all. Come on. Your career is going to tank, and I'm glad. Okay, well, that is what it is. But this was a slop job. This whole thing was a messy slop job. From the spelling mistakes to the wording to the word salad that didn't make sense. And then if those are the worst DMs you've got, oh, girl, please. Okay, you can solve all of this. You can solve all of this by just complying with the subpoena. You can solve all of this by writing an affidavit of what actually happened. You can solve all of this by telling the truth. You can solve all of this by doing the right thing. That's it. I'm not going to be able to get to the other things I wanted to get to today, which are pretty juicy and good just because of timing. The video is already gone over. So I'll definitely be back tomorrow for a little Tuesday special. And I have a lot of things that I want to share with you personally. So yeah, what a weird one. I was like shook last night reading this. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, girl, what have you done? What have you done? What have they made you do? Because this was not the move. This was actually awful. And even if you did want to fight the subpoena, you could have been served the subpoena, and then there's ways to go about it, which we've seen now by so many other content creators and so many people in the court. So even just like opposing to be served is crazy work. This whole thing was a botched job. This was an attack on Justin Baldoni. And yeah, this lawyer should be embarrassed by this letter, all of the mistakes in it, everything going on. Girl, Isabella, what were you thinking? Oh my gosh, I just can't get over it. But anyway, I hope you all are having a great day. I had a second interview today, a little practical interview at a new hotel, so I'm pretty excited about that. I'm also working on a new film I'm doing, and I have a lot of things coming to you this week that I'm really excited about that I will actually get into in tomorrow's video just for time and stuff. But I'm wishing you all the best. Tomorrow will end on something, a little bit more inspiring with a lot of good news coming your way. So thank you so much. I hope you're enjoying the day. Please drop all of your comments because this one is like, I never saw this coming. It was so crazy. I was like, what is going on? Every time I read it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just getting more wild and absolutely like you could never guess the next move. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, anyway, I hope you're loving the video and I'm sure you have a lot of things to say. So please drop your comments like always. And yeah, I think I said that like twice now. But anyway, I love you so much and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.